Okay, so welcome to, we're doing a whole month of classes on restorative poses. And I'd just like to say that it's kind of an odd thing when we do restorative poses first off the mark in the morning. You sort of have to switch your mind over to doing something just very quiet, where our tendency is to jump up and want to be get going in the morning. But the philosophy behind this is that for the most part, that means most of us, we tend to be available for anything at any time. And when you practice restorative poses, you can have the experience of saying, this is my time, I'm looking after myself, and in a way you're making yourself deliberately unavailable, um, just available to yourself. So um, I remember a quote from Judith Lassiter, who has been a spokesperson and practitioner of restorative yoga for 25 or 30 years. And she said it takes courage to relax. So you might consider that in doing practice like this, that you're really taking a stand for yourself. All right, so let's begin with some Ujjaya breathing, some controlled breathing, and in a particular way. So I'll just show you how we can do this. If you take a yoga block, you could even do a rolled blanket behind you, and then sit near to the wall and probably propped up on a cushion in cross-legged position, if that's comfortable for you. And of course you can sit in a chair if that's not comfortable to be cross-legged. So I've got my block here, and the cushion that I'm sitting on has a little gap, about 4 fingers between my back and the wall. So that gives me a chance to sit right close to the wall but not leaning against it, because we're going to put the block between the wall and the upper back. And what that does is it just reminds you to sit up using your back muscles, and particularly your upper back where your shoulder blades are. So you're not leaning against the wall. We've still got good yoga posture and sitting upright, but with that little addition. And you could take the tips of your shoulders back and then open up the top of your chest and stretch your collarbones. With your hands resting on your legs, draw your elbows back towards the wall so they line up on the sides of your waist. And then in a moment we'll begin, and we're going to count breaths. And while we're here in this breathing exercise, we'll count 10 breaths. Turn your palms up so the backs of your hands rest onto your legs and your elbows are relaxed now. So with Ujjaya breathing, that's the Sanskrit word for a kind of breathing where you're listening to your breath, and the breath is made by closing the back of your throat slightly. So the breath is slightly constrained, but not so much so that you're going to be tense while you're doing it. We're going to count 10 cycles, and if I exaggerate the sound of the breath that I'm going to make, it sounds something like this. And if I kept going like that, that is a kind of aggressive breath. So I just want to keep my breath quieter than that sound, but so that I can still hear my own breath. So you can count 10 breaths on your fingers and begin in your own time. With your eyes closed, you can better concentrate on your breath and stay relaxed. That's the main message. So we can, as you're ready, and I'll begin now. Stay relaxed, shoulders, your facial features relaxed. And as you go on with a few more breaths here, and you build up a kind of cadence in your breathing, you might incorporate the core muscles a little bit, so that when you exhale, you're drawing the navel back slightly. And when you're inhaling, making space in the top chest for the longer cycles, if you're able to increase the length of the breath. Notice whether your legs feel relaxed still. The groins should be soft. And because I've been talking, I've lost track of my count, but we'll say that I'll finish there. But if you're still going, just keep going with the remaining cycles. And then if you are finished, just turn your hands down, rest them lightly onto your thighs, and stay quiet for another few moments with your breath normal. All right, and then preparing to move on. So just take that block out. Extend your legs. Give them a good stretch. And then take your cushion that you're sitting on over to the side and take a lying down position on your mat. And now when you're lying on your back, bend your legs, have your feet on the floor near to your buttocks. And then link your hands, clasp your hands, and bring your hands behind the base of your skull. Lift your head a fraction off the floor and lengthen the back of your neck towards the crown of your head. And then when you place your head onto the floor again, your chin's down slightly, but the front of your neck is relaxed. We're going to do a really great favorite pose of mine, which is Aponasana. So bend one knee in towards your chest, the other knee in, hold at the front of your knees, and then exhale, bring your knees in a little bit closer to your chest with your shoulders relaxed, and inhale, push your knees out. Exhale, when your knees come in, there's a kind of squeezing through the abdomen, and inhaling, making space for the next breath. Let's do several cycles like this, where you're keeping most of the weight towards your sacrum. And if you're familiar with this movement, also moving the sitting bones towards the floor as you bring your knees towards your chest. We can do this hands-free, and knees come in, knees move away. If it feels more supportive for you in particular, then still hold your knees. That's fine to do it either way. So this is a really great warm-up because it engages your core muscles and gives a little massage for the internal organs of elimination and digestion. And then place your feet back onto the floor. Have your arms at a little distance from the side of your body. Separate your feet hip-width distance. And then merely let your knees drop to the right side. Let your head loll around to the left, look left. And then let's go back and forth, right side to left side, a few times. In the beginning, sometimes you're just waking up your body or you're getting in touch with your body. So the movements are smaller and slower, and especially as we're doing a restorative practice. More consideration of what you're doing. And the next time that you bring your knees over to the right side, just keep them there a moment longer. And then extend your left arm along the floor, alongside your left side of your head, and look that direction. And give the whole left side of your body a big stretch, kind of like a morning wake up on one side. And then let's go other side, knees to the left. Right arm on the floor alongside right side of your head. Look right, stretch, open up, enjoy the movement. And then let's go one more time each side because that was so nice. Maybe you're going a little further than you did the first rounds, but we're not being goal-minded here, just enjoying the sensations. Okay, and now the knees are over to the left, at least they are for me. Bring your right arm over to that side, and then come up and grab a strap or a belt. Then take your lying down position again. Some of what we're doing this morning involves hamstring stretches. So this is a good warm-up cycle of doing a few leg stretches. So have your feet on the floor near to your buttocks again. We're going to keep this bent leg position, except extending one leg. Pop your strap over your right foot. If you're not prepared with a strap or something to hold on to, you can just hold the back of your leg. Then we're going to alternately flex the knee, but just a little, and then push up against the resistance of the belt. We can do that with the breath again, which is a nice thing to do. So bending, and then exhale and extend. So you're starting to switch on those thigh muscles. Bending, extending. Keep a light grip on the belt if you're using a belt, and keep your shoulders relaxed. Even your face. Have a kindly expression on your face. All right, we're going to do one more extension like that. And then as you've extended your leg, maybe you warmed up the hamstrings a bit at the back of the legs. That would be a good result. Hold that position and see if you can feel what it feels like if you even imagine resistance that you're pushing up against in engaging your front thigh muscles. That's a really good movement. All right, take up the belt just into your right hand. Let your left knee drop over to the left side, and then take your right leg about halfway over to the right side, not down to the floor. Keep the balance on the back of your pelvis, on the sacrum, and then enjoy a groin stretch. Maybe enjoy isn't the word, but employ a groin stretch. And then you could just try on that movement. Knee bends a little bit and then push out into the strap. Slight bend and then strong pushing out. Keep a light touch onto the strap. And then let's hold it as a static position and then extending the back of the leg. That's where the hamstrings are, from the buttock to the back of the knee. Okay, bring that leg back up. Bring your left knee back up. Your left foot's firmly on the floor. Hold the belt just into your left hand and do a crossover. So when you bring your right leg over to the left, it's in front of the left knee, and then let the left knee go to the right. Then, just to tone these leg muscles a little bit more, squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. And then release. And try that a couple more times. And instead of using 110% effort, just kind of wind back a little bit and explore just the sensations of using those muscles. So you're sensitive there. All right, right leg back up. I'm going to switch to the other side. Take a moment, though, consolidate with both feet on the floor. Let's lengthen the lower back now. So reach your hands underneath your back waist. Lift your bottom a little bit and move your tailbone towards your heels. Then replace your lower back onto the floor, keeping the natural lumbar curve, if you can, by having your weight on your sacrum. Then bring your left knee into your chest, slip the belt on, the ball of the foot or the arch of the foot. I've got a two-hand grip onto the belt, and I'm going to work through the alternate stretch and flex. Feel what a difference it makes when you press against the belt. But then also, as you bend, feel the release of the thigh muscles. And alternately, and preferably with your breath. Good. Last one, hold the stretch with the leg relatively straight. Feel the thigh muscles still engaged at the front. And then pop the belt into your left hand, drop your right arm to the side. Your right foot's on the floor. Now take your right knee right and your left leg left. We're not going out in a big stretch to the left, but working with that alternate movement, bending slightly, straightening. Something interesting to observe is the difference between the stretch and the straightening on the two sides. That for me, this is my stiffer side. All right, then hold that stretch with the leg relatively straight, but really working the quadricep, the front thigh muscle, just to keep the leg completely engaged. Keep a light hand onto the belt. You don't have to adopt a white knuckle approach. And then bring the leg all the way up. Bring your right knee up at the same time. Here's the crossover, including right hand holding the belt, left arm out to the left side. Now my left leg is going right in front of the right thigh. That's a lot of rights and lefts, I know. And then see how you can go to squeeze the inner thigh muscles and then release. And feel them engage. When I was doing this earlier in the week, then I found a bit of cramping going on. So if cramps happen for you, just give yourself a rub and then get back into it. You will survive. And then back up to the vertical, and then folding that leg down, and happily 2 feet on the ground. Just hold it there. Leave your belt to the side. It's always good to take a moment to consolidate after you've done these movements and see how they feel, how have they been adopted or adapted in your body. All right, and now we're going to move on. So come up to standing position. And in what we're about to do, we're going to use a chair. So we're kind of modifying a few poses to make them gentle and more restorative. So one of the hallmarks of restorative poses is that we do a lot of head down, bum up. So I'm going to put a cushion up onto the chair. For the standing forward bend Uttanasana. Come close, relatively close to the chair. Bend your knees a little bit and start to do forward fold from the tops of your thighs and the crease of your hips. When you get about halfway down, then fold your arms and rest your forearms onto the bolster. If this doesn't give you enough height, then take some extra cushions or even a block underneath the bolster to build it up. And then from here, flex your knees just a little and then rest your head onto your folded arms. Now we're going to test all the work that we did in the floor leg stretches and see how it goes for you. You might not be completely ready to straighten your legs, but little by little, you could draw the thigh muscles up just above the knees, the mid-thighs, and the top thighs near to the hip fold. And then as well, feel that core area from the pubic bone to the bottom of your sternum. And without tensing those muscles, create a light lift through the abdominal wall. And probably I should have said it first, and very importantly, relax your shoulders. You've probably closed your eyes, and that's a good way to work through restorative poses, just to draw you inward a little bit more. Let's stay for another minute all together. And in that minute, relax your facial features. So even though your eyes are closed, your face might not be entirely relaxed. Relax from your forehead to your eyebrows. Feel the eyes wide and soft. And feel the breath now with no control. It's not constrained. You're just breathing naturally. If this is rugged for your back, your lower back, keep a good knee bend, but then tilt your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. All right, we're going to move on from this forward fold or Uttanasana, so help yourself up to standing all the way up. Let's take the cushion away and just leave it to the side because we'll get back to it. And let's do a modified dog pose stretch there. So facing the chair and forward folding. Place your hands onto the chair. So the flat of your palms flat on the seat of the chair, and then step back a little bit. How much? If you look back at your legs, then they're on a slant, a slight slant, as they would be for dog pose if your hands were on the floor. And then rise up onto the ball of your foot. Your toes are in a line and squarely facing forward, and your buttock bones are lifting high up towards the ceiling. Then give your shoulders a good stretch. This is the perfect position for stretching out the shoulders. Heels are up, buttock bones up, and you're looking straight down. Good. And then as you lower your heels, take a walk in and bring your bolster back onto the chair. Step your right foot forward. When your right foot is forward, it's just a little bit in front of, towards you, towards the, in front of the chair legs. And take a moment, get your balance. This is asymmetrical, so adjust your stance so that you're comfortable again in a kind of odd position. Right foot forward, left foot back. And then bring your hands onto your frontal hips and square them off so that they're facing directly forward and as level as you can make them. Then we do a little sequence here, which is with the flow and with your breath. So inhale, bend your front knee over your front ankle and raise your arms up to goalpost position so your elbows are in line with your shoulders. Exhale, lower your arms back down to your side, straighten the front leg. Here we go again, bending, elbows bent out to the side, and exhale, arms back down. If you like, when you do your knee bend this time and elbow bend, you can look up and lift the top of your chest. Good. Hold it this time and see what happens when you bring your elbows back behind the line of your shoulders, if that movement is there for you. Feel your upper back muscles strong, maybe like when you were sitting at the wall with the block behind you. And then release that, and arms down to your side, and straight front leg. Let's add another movement there. Inhale, raise your arms, bend your front knee, tilt your chin up. Exhale, straight front leg, bring your hands down onto the bolster, bring your head downward. Inhale, come up again, bend your front knee, elbows bend out to the side, look up. Exhale, straight front leg, arms back down by your side. Let's do another flowing movement. Inhale, elbows bend, knee bends, look up. Exhale, straight arms, straight front leg, head towards the chair. One more round, bending your knee to come up and arms back down by your side. Go slowly, go thoughtfully. Inhale, elbows bend, front knee bends, look up. Exhale, straight leg. Let's hold it there this time. And as you did in the modified forward bend, fold your arms, rest your head onto your hands. When we do restorative poses, you're actively relaxing. So even though we relax our shoulders here, there's a kind of rebounding of energy through the legs, back up to the hips. The abdomen lifts up too, so that area is contained. There's no tension. You've got your hands on the dial, and you're just turning back any tensing of your body as it comes up. And is there even 5% that you can, 5% more that you can let go in your shoulders? All right, and then we go through the cycle to release from the pose, start to bend the front knee, push into the right foot, inhale and come up with the elbows bent out to the side, and exhale, straighten the leg, lower the arms. That's all first side. Let's switch to the second side. Left foot forward, right foot back. Good. Start relaxed. Relax your shoulders. Feel your footing. Left foot, right foot, ankles strong. And then let's just go through the warrior, bending and straightening the front leg. Inhale, arms come up, left leg is bent. Exhale, arms back down, straight leg. Through the breath, inhale. You can use Ujjaya breathing here if you like doing that. Exhale and arms down, straight front leg. One more like that. Chest high and releasing and pausing. And let's just practice that movement for the upper part of your back. Bend your elbows out to the side so your elbows have a right angle crook, and then bring your elbows back. Squeeze the upper back. Really good for shoulder blade flexion and strengthening. And then release the arms down. All right, let's do a forward bend with this, incorporating warrior one as well. Inhale, arms come up, chest up. Exhale, we're going to reach for the bolster, reach for the chair, straight front leg, head down. Inhale, move through the cycle, arms up, front leg bend. Exhale, arms back to your side. One more like that. In breath and out breath. And here we're going to stay there. I've moved a little bit away from the chair, so coming in a little closer if you need to, or keep adjusting your pose so that you're at your own comfortable distance from the chair. And then when you've arrived at that, bring your head down. Just check in that your body sense. So how does this feel on your body? I feel like my hips are a little bit uneven. I can't see the back of my body. So as much as I can, just feeling into it so that my hips are still level and square. And my shoulders the same. And in these last few moments, in Parsvattanasana, this version we're doing, relax your shoulders. Right? Make that back leg strong. Feel that back footprint, front foot, bend your front knee, and inhale, come up. Can you do this? Elbows out to the side, look up, exhale, arms back down. Good. Step right foot to left. You've done well there. And then let's take the bolster away and adopt our modified dog pose. Hands supported. Step back. So looking back at your feet and your legs. Let's keep the feet flat this time instead of doing a heel rise. Bring your strong shoulder stretch into this. Tilt your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. And you're only straightening your legs as much as is appropriate for your, for your knees, for your leg muscles, and for your lower back. So keep a knee bend if you need to. And then last of all, looking back at your feet, can you just make sure that the arches of your feet are lifted? And you can get there by lifting your inner ankles, inner knees. Good. Relax your shoulders, roll them out. And then take a walk in. And inhale and come up. So good work. Let's get some nice opening through the front chest by working with your back body again. So I'm going to take a seated position in front of the chair. And it might be a good place to have a bolster to sit on. But you don't know. When you're seated in front of the chair, back to the chair, we're just testing which kind of props we're going to use here. So this isn't quite the right height for me. I would like for the edge of the chair to be in my shoulder blade area. And I have a long torso. So if I sit flat on the floor, then I can have the edge of the chair on my mid-back area. So what has that done? It means that I can open up the front of my chest using the strength of my back muscles. I'm sitting in cross-legged position, but you might be more comfortable sitting with your legs straight out. And then from here, and building on that opening through the back of the chest, bring your arms up forward and up towards the ceiling. And there's such a temptation to bring the head forward when the arms are back a little bit. So just check it out and have your ears directly over your shoulders and your chin level with the ground. When you brought your arms up, I'm sure that you inhaled. Make sure that you're still breathing with your arms straight up. And you might even think, I wonder if I can create a little back bend with my upper part of my back. Good. So you shouldn't be a feeling of being startled here, even though your arms are up. And then bring your arms back down to your side and pause there. And what would be the feeling in your upper back if you take your arms out to the side? So your arms out from your shoulders, parallel with the floor, and palms open. And then feel what it feels like, just to exaggerate that little bit, by taking your hands back slightly behind the line of your shoulders. Be careful with your shoulders. If this isn't a good movement for you, you could do it with your elbows crooked again, like you did in Warrior One. Right? And then releasing back down to the ground. Your arms are relaxed, shoulders to fingertips. Right? And then last of all, when you bring your arms out sideways, instead of your hands facing forward, turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Your arms at shoulder height again. And imagine that you've got a heavy plate on each hand. And then push up against that imaginary weight. It's amazing when you work with resistance how it can mobilize muscles that were previously quite slack or dull. And then relax. Good. Without dropping your chest, without losing any of the openings that you created. And then we'll take that into the next pose, which is the bridge pose, lying on the floor. I'm going to be lying on my back. And take up your block again. And place it between your knees. These foam yoga blocks are very readily available. So you can get them at Big W and sporting goods shops and all over the place. And they're just the handiest yoga prop because they're lightweight, easy to transport, and so useful in many ways. So right now we're just going to use the inner thigh muscles like you did when you were in your lying down leg stretch series. So press against the block, but lightly. If you could press 100%, then back off and just press 50%, and that's plenty. So being a little bit more sensitive here. And then from here, merely tilt your pelvis slightly away from the floor and then towards the floor. If we go back and forth between the pelvic tilts, it's just a very subtle movement. No big extravagant movement. Feel in the forward tilt, the core area, and feel the core area contained as you tilt back. Right, and then keep your arms a little closer into your body. I had mine out quite a ways, and palms upwards. Then firm your feet, feel your outline of your feet pressing down, and then at your own rate and with your breath, start to lift off and buttocks come up. And then turn your upper arms out a little bit more closer to the armpit area. Notice if you're clenching your buttocks and release any tighten around the base of your spine, the tailbone. And then ease your way back towards the floor. Think of the spine as it comes down slowly, rolling like a wheel all the way down to the sacrum and the tailbone. Relax the arms and the shoulders. Feel your support that the mat gives you, and come up all over again. And buttocks come up, but slowly. Release the tailbone muscles. Lift from the outer hips if you can imagine that area lifting up more. And roll that wheel of the spinal column all the way down to the floor again, folding down. All right, and then this last time that we're going to do the lift, let's do an overhead arm stretch. So pressing your feet down, pressing against the block. As you come up this time, bring your arms up and overhead and towards the floor beyond your head. Lifting from the middle of your buttocks and the outer hips. Keep the inner thighs firm, the inside of your feet, and then lower down and rolling down a little bit at a time until your spine is fully at rest. Bring your chin down a little bit. Lengthen the back of your neck once more. And then from here, we're going to substitute. No, we're not going to substitute. We're just going to take up the bolster and have it support us underneath the buttocks. So the way that this works is once you've got your bolster next to you, assume a lying down position first, legs bent and your feet firm on the floor. Then press your feet down, lift your buttocks high, and slide that bolster or that cushion underneath your lower back. Now, it supports just the more the base of your spine. So where my waist rests on the bolster, it's in line with the edge of the bolster that's closest to me, and my buttocks are fully supported. And then I can release the weight of my lower back, my sacrum, into the bolster and feel kind of release of that hip weight to gravity. And then you can stay in your little back bend like this, the supported back bend, and increase the stretch through your lower back by extending out one leg and the other leg. And at this point, you might find that, oh, that was a little bit too strong for me. And so you can just have your legs partially bent or straight out. I've got my arms at a remove from the sides of my body, the armpits open and the palms facing upwards. All right, and then bring your feet back onto the floor if your legs were straight. Lift one knee towards your chest, second knee towards your chest, and then either slip the belt over the ball of your foot or the arch of your foot, or hold the backs of your legs and extend your legs up. Once the legs are extended, this is up to you. So if you find that has a strong effect on your lower back, it feels uncomfortable, keep your knees bent but directly above your hips. And you can still hold at the backs of the legs or hold with the belt. Feel the hips sink down, and depending on your hamstring availability, stretch, then extend the legs. And as you do that, feel the front thigh muscles engage. So even if your legs are slightly bent, you can still work the front of your thighs. You've done a little bit of an inversion this way. Bend your right knee into your chest, left knee towards your chest. Hold at the front of your knees. This is a little bit like an upside down child's pose. Let your thighs come closer to your ribs. Let the weight of your thigh bones towards your chest. And as you're there a few moments longer, see if the hip crease releases just a little bit more. The sitting bones release a little bit more. And just by dint of gravity, the thighs drop near to you. Relax your shoulders. All right, and then let's take the feet back to the floor. Slip the belt out, bolster out from your lower back. And replace your hips back onto the floor so that they're supported and relaxed. And we will move on to child's pose now. And as you're ready, roll over to the side. And come up to a kneeling position. For this version of child's pose, I'm going to use a block to support my head. So it looks like this. And for your own body and adapting the pose to suit you, if you find that that is an unpleasant or even an unsafe movement for your knees, you can keep your buttocks elevated. That will keep the space behind your knees less compressed and still rest your head onto a block. So in this head down position, relax your forehead and allow your shoulders to drop out and the shoulder blades to feel broad on your upper part of your back. Soften your belly muscles and feel your breath. As we move into a more reflective part of this practice, allow the breath to guide you into relaxing more and more. And without making any gross adjustments, do you still feel the opening through the chest, through the breastbone that you established through various poses? Allow every inhaling breath to percolate out towards the sides of your chest. And gently release from your forward bend. Let's put the block off to the side and take a moment just to stretch your legs out. And in a moment, we'll take up constructive rest position. So you might need a few props for yourself, including an eye covering. And if you like, a cushion for the back of your head, like a pillow. I think I will be cushionless for this one. And when you're ready, then lie onto your back. And just before we do the constructive rest position, which will be our relaxation, then let's do just a rotation for your spine, kind of neutralizing all the activities that we've done earlier. So flat on your back, step your feet apart. This is a version of the earlier rotation that we did lying down. And when you're on your back like this, have your feet hip width apart or wider than hip width apart. Sometimes this is called windscreen wiper pose. So let your knees drop to the right side And straight away bring your left arm overhead along the floor and look towards the left and get that nice opening all along the side of your body. And then swap over. And knees to the left. Long right arm extending away from your right leg. Good, fold that leg in, that arm in again, knees to the right. And then add one more thing here, if you can, and looking towards the right side, your knees to the right side, then lift up onto the right shoulder. And turn your head all the way to the right side and take an extra long stretch along the lateral body. And then see what it feels like on the opposite side, folding the left arm down, right arm overhead, and rolling all the way over onto your left shoulder. Good, back to center. One more time each side now that you've got the knack of that, I hope. Go slowly, give an extra stretch when you get there onto the right side. And finally, one more side to the left. Well done. And then lying straight on your back. And then check that out. Are you actually lying straight? Do you have a continuous line from your tailbone through the center line of your body and through the crown of your head? And adjust your position so that you can be like that. And I've introduced what we're about to do as constructive rest pose. And it's not exactly a shavasana because your legs bent and your feet are on the floor. What it means is that you're liable to be a little bit more alert, or should I say less likely to fall asleep when you're in this position. So your feet are hip width apart and legs are parallel. You can rest your knees against one another or not. That's up to you. But the main thing is that the inner thighs feel relaxed. And the intention of this pose is to adopt a position that lets you release tension, and especially through the back of your body. If we think about the relationship that we have with gravity, first thing in the morning we get out of bed, walk around, we do our exercises, perhaps our yoga practice, and we are influenced by having to stay upright. Otherwise we collapse in a heap. During the night your spine has shrunk a little bit as it's in the relaxed position. And then that happens more and more through the day as you feel the kind of pressure of gravity. So now in this lying down position, without that kind of influence, you can let go. All those parts, especially where you're supported, your 2 feet on the floor. Where your buttocks rest onto the mat. Where the sacrum is supported now. And you might, in this early stage of this constructive rest, just move around a little bit so that you feel like you're fairly even on the back body, on that triangular plate of the sacrum, on your shoulder blades. And feel all along the spine, the spinal muscles that support us in good posture, in movement. Those muscles, they can be unemployed now. They can let go. The shoulder blades and the shoulders themselves. And feel the upper limbs from your shoulders and down through your hands. Feel the weight of them dropping. Releasing all muscular effort, all effort of will. As tension releases from upper arms and forearms, you might feel like the arms shrink back a little bit into the floor. The elbow crease softens. And especially release the weight of your head. Proportionately, the head weighs quite a bit in comparison with the rest of the body. So release the back of the skull, from the base of your skull to the crown of your head. When you do that, you're going to let the chin dip down a little bit and soften the front of your neck. And then do one more body scan from heels, forefoot, thigh muscles, buttocks, back, arms, head, any residual tension gone. And having done all that considerable release, let the front body, the skin, the muscles, the organs at the front of the body, release into that cradle that you created with the back body. Soft pelvis, belly, diaphragm, ribs, front shoulders, and bringing your awareness to rest lightly on your facial features. Feel the soft sensitivity of the skin over your face, your eyelids, cheeks, and lips lightly against each other. And finally, swallow lightly and begin to release the organs of speech through the throat, the jaw, lower jaw a little slackened, the tongue on the bottom of the mouth and resting lightly towards the back of the throat, the gums, the teeth, all soft, relaxed, letting go. And take these last few minutes for yourself in your own quiet space that you've created. If thoughts arise, as they often and sometimes invariably do, notice your breath. The constancy of your breath always there. Just switch over to observing the quiet cadence of your own breath. And as a first step in eventually becoming active again, just if you haven't done this, fold your hands in so your hands rest lightly over the abdominal area, over the navel. And make contact with your breath there, the diaphragm, the solar plexus, the belly. And slowly and gently bringing up your awareness and just letting your eyes flutter open. And taking in the space that you're in. And then bend one knee up towards your chest, second knee. Hold at the front of your knees. And if you like, do a little rocking movement on the lower back, on the back waist area, side to side. And then rolling over to one side and using your hands to help you sit up again. sitting on a block, a cushion, or just kneeling and sitting on your heels. Once upright, then rest your hands onto your legs and close your eyes and do a check-in. Always good to do this after a practice to feel the effects of the practice, not just on your body, mind. And then to complete the practice, bringing the hands up and placing them center chest as we do in this kind of ritual way, but not routine way. So once your hands make this gesture, then feel into it, even the sensitivity of touch of your hands. The palms in contact, the fingertips in contact. And let your thumb rest on the mid-breastbone in front of the heart center. Let's take a little time in bowing the head towards the heart to elevate the heart and feel the openness that you create, that you fund in doing the practice, and especially as we do it together. So feel the self-nurturance that you've given yourself in doing such a practice as we've done. And that not only for ourselves. So take time to consider the other practitioners of yoga right around the world and the populations of various people who maybe don't have the luxury of doing yoga practice as we have, that are in difficult straits. So including ourselves and all those people and creatures of the planet, we say namaste. Thank you.